Christmas.
Paul, someone's here.
Yeah, I invited Johnny. Merry Christmas! Thanks for having me. This is great. Oh, what do you got going on here? Oh, this is awesome. Awesome. What do you guys got going on here? Oh, you know, just some of our Christmas traditions. We got pancakes cooking.
Pancakes? That's not Christmas. Everybody knows Christmas is waffle time. We have waffles on Christmas. Duh. Here you go.
It's still frozen.
So what do we got going on here?
This is our traditional Mexican train.
That's not the game we play on Christmas. We play Catan on Christmas. This will get the Christmas spirit. You're in Catan and you're settling. It's great. Now, John Paul, I don't want to impose, but what's the deal with the music?
Johnny, this is our family tradition. It's the carol sing. Come on.
I'm sorry, John Paul, but this is not what we do on Christmas. This is what we do on Christmas. Oh, that's one Christmas tradition I get behind. Christmas at home. Good job.
Yes, and with that, we want to welcome you to Christmas at Home. My name is John Paul.
I'm Johnny.
And the next 45 minutes are going to be amazing. It's going to be filled with music, stories, and most importantly, an incredible message of hope.
And we want to encourage you to share this feed on whatever social media platform you are on, because we want to spread this message of hope and purpose with as many people as we can this season. And while you're at it, why don't you pull out your phone, because
you can win a prize!
Ooh, that looks so fancy!
I know, can you believe it? If you text the word GIFT to 905-937-5610, you will have a chance to win this. Now remember, add your address and your email address to the word GIFT for your chance to win. And someone will be able to drop this off to your house within the next hour.
So you say someone's gonna come in an hour and give that to you if you text the number on the screen, your email address and your physical address,
and the word gift.
And the word gift. Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, that's all from us, and we just want to thank you for joining us once again as Christmas at Home starts now.
Hey babe, can you give me some of that Christmas turkey?
Merry Christmas.
That mourns in lonely
walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned. You have enlarged the nation and increased their joy. They rejoice before you as people rejoice at the harvest, as men rejoice when dividing the plunder. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace.
Oh, come, desire of nations, bind all peoples in one heart and mind. Bid envy, strife, and quarrel cease. Fill the whole world with heaven's peace. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Shall come to you, O
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender.
There was a girl named Mary. She loved God very much. One day an angel appeared. Mary was so surprised and kind of scared. The angel said, "Don't be scared. You're going to have a baby." Then Mary said, "How can I have a baby? I'm not even married." But then the angel said, "It's all right. The baby will be God's son, Jesus." Mary was supposed to marry a guy named Joseph. She said, "I'm gonna have a baby." And Joseph was pretty surprised too. Right before the baby was gonna be born, Joseph and Mary went on a long trip to a town called Bethlehem. So when they got to Bethlehem, it was so full of people, nobody had room for them, except the innkeeper for remember. He had one place out back. There wasn't even any beds, but it was nice and warm. Nobody knew about Jesus. There was some shepherds right out of town. The angels showed up. The shepherds were like, "Oh no, what's happening?" But the angel said, "Don't be scared. We have something very, very, very awesome to tell you. God's son Jesus has been born. He's in Bethlehem, wrapped in a blanket." The shepherds were really excited. The wise men were living far away from baby Jesus, but God sent them a special star. The kings followed the special star along the way, a really long way. The star showed the men right where baby Jesus, Mary, and Joseph were. They even brought special gifts for baby Jesus. Then they had a big celebration because they were so glad because God's son was baby Jesus. That night was the best night ever.
Hey everybody, Hazmat Santa here, trying to spread some Christmas joy. We're going to the homes of some seniors, asking them what their favorite Christmas memory was growing up. Come on. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! What was Christmas like? Like when you think of Christmas growing up, when you think of Christmas now, when you think of Christmas memories, what are some of the highlights that come to your mind?
Our Christmas gifts under the tree, one was always from Santa, one was from Mom and Dad. We would get our stockings, they would be hung next to our bed.
Now, was it strict rules around opening gifts? No gifts open before midnight of December 25th?
We could not open gifts before Dad had his breakfast and his coffee and all these other things he would do. Just very slowly. And finally he would say, "Okay, I think it's time to open gifts." And then we were allowed to open. Everybody took their turn. One person opened a gift at a time.
Wow. Yep. Wow. Well, that's pretty amazing. John, what was it like for you?
My Christmas was quite different than Cheryl's because growing up on a farm, the first order of business in the morning at 5 o'clock was go out and get the cow's milk. And after that process was done, we would come into the house, have breakfast. Unlike Cheryl's family, who they only opened one gift at a time. Ours was more of a free-for-all. You got piles of gifts in front of each person, and in about 10 minutes, Christmas was over.
So I guess when I hear your stories, the big question for me is, so obviously you guys met.
Yeah.
So that first Christmas for you guys, was it a slow process, methodical, or was it a let's just throw everything in the middle? And then of course you have children. So how did you decide what your Christmas was like?
Well, before we even talk about that, I just wanted to say that we started dating at Christmas. both our kids were due at Christmas, but they waited till January. So when we started celebrating Christmas, it was my way, one gift at a time, so that we
Much
could
better.
we could enjoy that. And when the kids came along, it was the same thing. It was one gift at a time. They could open their stockings anytime at night because Santa brought those for them, and they got a toy from Santa, and then the rest of their gifts were from us.
It's great. And you know what? To be honest, it should be a time of joy, especially this year.
Yeah.
Where, it seems like so much negativity has been, coming at us from all over the place. Christmas is a time where we can kind of bring that joy back. And now I know, talking to you guys did both grow up with a faith in God. And so how did that play a part in the Christmas festivities?
Well, my dad had the habit, not a routine, but the habit of reading the Christmas story out of Luke before the presents were opened or after. Just forget that part. And when they passed on, we carried on that tradition ourselves. So that's been very meaningful.
Yeah, now I know that, food is a big thing. Family's a big thing. Cookies, you were mentioning before, all these Christmas cookies that you have. Presents, whatever it may be. Is there a Christmas that you can remember where either you got a gift that meant a lot or there was a family moment that really meant a lot? John, you're smiling there. Do you have something you can think of?
Well, again, I'm thinking of getting engaged at Christmas time. Good memory there. Meaningful moment.
I'm assuming she said yes.
Well, after a few minutes of thought, yeah.
I really appreciate you guys and just the stories that you brought. I really do hope that you guys have a blessed Christmas
Thank
this
you.
year. Yeah, it's amazing.
I hope for you and your family,
Thank you.
Santa.
Yes. Well, you know what?
Thanks for sliding down the chimney here.
Yeah, it was a tight fit, but I got to maybe hold off on the cookies for this year. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks
Thanks
you.
very much.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till He appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born, oh, night divine, oh, night divine. Truly He taught us to love one another. His law is love, and His gospel is peace. Chains shall He break, for the slave is our brother, and in His name all oppression shall cease. Sweet hymns of
Well, Merry Christmas, and I hope that this season finds you in a really good place. And I know I use the word hope because I can't be certain. The reality is that for many of us, 2020 has been a really rough year. And maybe for many of you, it's been a really rough go for a long period of time. And so right now, maybe you're sitting all by yourself, frustrated by the restrictions, limited, and you're wondering, why is this happening to me? Maybe if you're really honest, you feel like you went to the white elephant gift exchange of life and this is what you got. Remember when you were a kid and you had so much hope at Christmas time? It was so filled with awe and wonder. Maybe it was that Christmas gift you're hoping you'd get under the tree or some special food or time with family and friends. It was amazing, wasn't it? But just like steel, when exposed to the elements, corrodes and rusts, maybe the harsh realities, the harsh elements of life have really broken you and you feel marked and scarred and wounded. What do you do then? So, how do you reclaim that hope? That's the question I want to explore with you today, because that's what would be really powerful if we could reclaim that again today. This Christmas could actually be amazing. And what I discovered is that hope can actually be used in two different ways. Hope can be a verb. And when we use it as a verb, it's wishful thinking without any expectation of it actually being fulfilled. When we use hope as a verb, we hope in something outside of us. Like, I really hope the Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup this year. And yeah, good luck, right? And maybe that would be an amazing Christmas gift, but we're not sure and probably unlikely. And that kind of hope is discouraging because maybe, if you're honest, you did put your hope in a person and they failed you. Maybe if you're honest, you put your hope in a job or a career and that's been taken away. Maybe you put your hope in the government or in experts and you feel like they have failed you. Maybe you even put your hope in God and you're wondering, where are you? You see, you can use hope as a verb and often your hope will be dashed. But you can also use hope as a noun. And this use of the word actually speaks of confidence from inside of you. But what happens when you lose that? When you lose confidence, even in yourself or in your ability to cope in the situation you are in, that's an incredibly desperate situation. Well, the good news is that Christmas is all about restoring hope. You see, for us, 2,000 years ago, a baby was born. His name was Jesus, and he came to remind us that there was a way out, that our hope could be restored, and it was restored by God keeping his promises. And the greatest promise of all is that he would make all things new. So maybe, as you are, wherever you are watching right now, you feel like this is your life. I want you to know that it doesn't have to stay this way, that actually hope dictates, demands, proclaims that you can be restored. And you can be restored by God because of what happened 2,000 years ago. Now, maybe you're new to this or you're a little bit skeptical and you're thinking, well, what did that have to do with anything? How can I really learn to trust God through that story? Well, in order to understand that, we need to go back even further, 2,700 years, 700 years before Jesus was born. And there are a group of people, God's people, who were living in exile. You see, an oppressive empire had come into their nation, ripped them from their homes, killed many of their family and friends, and had made them slaves in a foreign land. And it was in their desperation, they were asking the same questions that maybe you're asking right now. Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? God, where are you? If you're so great, why don't you just show up? And maybe those are questions we need to ask. And so God does show up through a prophet by the name of Isaiah
And he shows up in a way that you wouldn't expect. He shows up by making a promise. And this is where our hope lies, in a God who keeps his promises. So in Isaiah chapter 9, here is the promise. It says that, listen, nevertheless, no matter what you're going through, no matter where you're at right now, there will be no more gloom for those who are in distress. And man, wouldn't that be amazing news for you this season? For the people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of deep darkness, a light has dawned. You have enlarged the nation and increased their joy. You have shattered the yoke that burdens them, the bar across their shoulders, the rod of their oppressor. And man, maybe you feel like this, and that sounds like really good news, like cool water to a parched throat. You need that kind of hope today. Every warrior's boot in battle, used in battle, and every garment rolled in blood will be destined for burning, will be fuel for the fire. How is that going to happen? Well, here's the promise. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the greatness of his government and peace, there will be no end. And maybe like me, you read that and you go, that would be amazing. How can that happen? When will that happen? Let it happen right now. But the problem is you read that promise with the idea of as hope as a verb. Just like the first readers, they thought, okay, that must mean that there's going to be a new political system, or maybe there's going to be some social reform, or maybe there's going to be an infusion into the economy, or maybe a new religious order that would save it, something outside of me that would rescue me. But that's not what this promise is about at all. This promise is rooted in the hope that is a noun, a confidence that starts from the inside out. It's actually about changing your heart. You say, well, how's that going to help me? Well, the Bible reminds us that if our heart is changed, then it changes our perspective. And then no matter what happens outside of you, you can have peace. It's like being in the eye of the storm, in the midst of chaos. You can have hope because it's rooted in a noun, in a person, in God. And so God came in human flesh in Jesus. See, for us, hope is a person. Hope is more than just a promise. It's a fulfillment of the promise. And it came in a baby. And you think, why that way? Like, of all the ways for God to come, why a baby? Well, think about it. Babies signal something new. Babies come with expectation and promise and hope. There's so much joy around the birth of a baby because in that little child, everyone knows there's so much promise. Something new has begun. And maybe that's why Jesus said we must be born again. It's this idea that if we allow God to change us from the inside out, it brings expectation and joy and hope, the promise of something better. And that's why Jesus came 2,000 years ago at Christmas. Now I know, maybe you're a little skeptical about this concept of God's love in human flesh, and you think, that's a bit ridiculous or far-fetched. Maybe that's why Jesus, as he grew into a man, performed all kinds of miracles to prove that what you and I think is possible with God is actually possible, to stretch our imagination, to stretch our potential, our promise, our possibility. I mean, think about it this way. You do this all the time. I mean, imagine you get on an airplane. I know many of us won't be able to do that this year, but imagine you get onto this machine. It's a huge weight of steel and it's engineered, and you think, how is this thing gonna get in the air? As a matter of fact, if you talked to your ancestors 100 years ago and you said, we're gonna get in this giant metal tube and we're gonna fly in the sky, they would have thought that was ridiculous too. But you've put your trust in something, the engineering and the pilot. Or think about a pacemaker. If, again, you talked to your ancestors 100 years ago and you said, they're gonna put plastic inside of you and it's gonna keep your heart beating, they would have said, that is ridiculous. But it is possible. And the Bible reminds us that with God, all things are possible. And so, yeah, I know, maybe you feel like this. Maybe you feel like you're broken and battered and bruised. Maybe on the outside, you're kind of holding it together, but on the inside, you're filled with fear and anxiety. And you don't have hope. You've lost hope. You're discouraged, you're frustrated, you're angry. God says he can make something new in you today. You say, well, what does this kind of hope look like, and why did it take so long to be fulfilled? If this promise came 700 years, that's a long time before Jesus actually came. I think it's because we do have a hard time trusting, right? In order to trust somebody, it takes a really long time. And so for 700 years, God is going to give promises, over 400 of them that are all going to be fulfilled. Why is this important? It's important because he's building a case that you can trust him, that he does keep his promises. If he says it, it will be done. And so what does his hope look like? Well, it's found in the names that are going to be given to Jesus. He will be a wonderful counselor, that in the face of your confusion, he will be able to infuse your heart with truth. He will be the mighty God. In the face of your bondage, your brokenness, your struggle, he will give you the power to overcome and find healing and victory. He'll be the everlasting Father. In your insecurity and isolation, right now you wonder, does anyone even care? I'm all alone. He would infuse you with the fact that you have incredible value. And he would be the Prince of Peace. In a world that will be filled with fear and chaos and confusion, he would infuse you with this ability to have peace no matter what was going on the outside of you. No wonder this story is so powerful and so beautiful for so many of us. So, how can you have this hope? That's maybe the best question all of us can ask. If hope isn't changing something outside of me, how can I have this hope change inside of me? How can I experience that peace that passes all understanding right now? I'll tell you how. By putting your life in the hands of God. By letting him take your broken life and gently restore it, rebuild it, living in his way, his life, his truth, to make something new inside of you. And so just like a master craftsman, if you are willing to trust God, to put your hope in him, he is willing and able, proven by keeping his promises, to restore you. Those parts that were broken and scarred and marked, he will gently rebuild, and he'll build you from the inside out. It doesn't mean necessarily that all the external circumstances will go away, but it does mean that you will be new, a new creation. This is such an important thought and a concept that we're actually committing the entire month of January, starting on January 3rd, to explore this new way of living where Jesus said, "Come follow me and I will make you fishers of men." It's this idea that something will change inside of you. It'll give you purpose and hope and destiny, and it won't matter what's happening outside of you. That's the great news today. Stop worrying about all the things that are happening outside of you, but instead focus on what's happening inside of you. And if you do that, you can have peace. You can have freedom from your past, you can have peace in the present, and you can have hope for the future. That's what God does when he restores us to who we were created to be. And so, this Christmas, I bless you. I bless you with the reality, and I'm living it with you, that life isn't always the way it should be. That sometimes we get broken and marked, scarred by life. Sometimes we ask the hard questions like, why me? God, where are you? And that's okay. But the answer comes in hope. Not hope that the outside of our life will change, but a hope that God can change us from the inside out. That he really is our wonderful counselor, the mighty God, the everlasting Father, our Prince of Peace. And so may you put your life in his hands and experience his hope and his promise for you today. This is the power of the Christmas story. Merry Christmas.
Searching for meaning, history's repeating. Will we ever find what we're looking for? We're longing for purpose, peace within your promise.
Wow, that was amazing.
Yes, that was awesome.
So good.
Amazing.
We have such an amazing team and just so many hours that goes into these experiences. So thank you so much for joining us. And we really hope that you felt hope today. And maybe for you, that was the first time or the first time in a long time. And we want to encourage you to take your next step. And if it is your first time taking a next step in faith, the easiest way for you to do that is by texting the word Central to 905-937-5610. We'd love to help you on that journey. And if you've made a decision today, we'd love for you to click the word decision when you do that and fill out that form. We'd love to send you an alabaster Bible, the book of John, which is all about the hope that we have in Jesus. And so these are just fantastic. They're illustrated and just beautiful art pieces that you can use and you can celebrate the hope that we have. So we want to send that to you. Make sure you do text the word Central to 905-937-5610.
Speaking of hope, we're actually starting a new series on January 3rd titled Dear 2020, We Need to Talk.
And we do. We need to have a serious conversation with 2020.
We definitely do. You can join us live by subscribing to our YouTube channel or watching on Facebook or watching at centralcc.ca.
So when you check out this bumper promoting that series next month.
Dear 2020,
we need to talk. I'm not sure how to say this, but this isn't working.
I'm tired. I'm afraid. I've let you in and you've cost me everything.
my dreams, my peace of mind, my sanity. And you're not changing.
So I am. I'm moving on.
The cost is just too high. So I guess this is goodbye.
I've got a life to live.
And I'm gonna live it.
And I'm gonna live it.
I'm gonna live it.
Everything we do here at Central is because of your generosity. So if you'd like to partner with us in the work that we're doing here at Central, then why don't you head over to centralcc.ca/give.
Yeah, and you can set up a one-time gift or regular ongoing giving. But either way, everything that we do literally happens because of your generosity. So we do want to thank you in advance for that. And you can give all the way up until December 31st this year and be tax receipted for the year 2020. So thank you so much for all your generosity. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, with all that being said, we really just want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are, as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years we always If the